We open on vast agricultural fields stretching toward the horizon, rows upon rows of lush eggplant plants heavy with deep purple fruit. The morning sun casts long shadows across the earth as workers move methodically through the rows. This is where our journey begins, in the heart of one of the world's most advanced eggplant production facilities, where traditional farming meets cutting-edge technology. The eggplant, known scientifically as Selena melongena, has been cultivated for thousands of years, originating in the Indian subcontinent before spreading across Asia, the Middle East, and eventually the entire world. Today, what you're seeing represents a culmination of centuries of agricultural knowledge combined with modern innovation. These fields produce millions of pounds of eggplants annually, destined for restaurants, grocery stores, and processing facilities across multiple continents. Walking through these fields, you immediately notice the precision. Every plant is spaced exactly 30 inches apart, a calculation that maximizes yield while ensuring each plant receives adequate sunlight, water, and nutrients. The soil here has been carefully analyzed and amended, its pH levels adjusted to the optimal range between 6 and 7. Drip irrigation lines run beneath black plastic mulch that covers each row, a system that reduces water consumption by 40% compared to traditional methods, while simultaneously controlling weed growth and maintaining consistent soil temperature. The plants themselves are the result of careful seed selection. The variety grown here is chosen not just for flavor and appearance, but for uniformity, disease resistance, and shelf life. Each seed is tested for germination rates exceeding 95% before being approved for planting. The seedlings begin their lives in climate-controlled greenhouses, where temperature, humidity, and light exposure are monitored constantly. After 6 weeks of carefully managed growth, they're transplanted to these fields, where they'll mature over the next 70 to 80 days. Harvesting represents one of the most critical phases in the production process. Timing is everything. Harvest too early, and the eggplants lack the full development of flavor and texture that consumers expect. Wait too long, and the fruit becomes bitter, the seeds harden, and the flesh turns spongy. The harvest teams work in the cool morning hours, when temperatures are lowest and the fruit is at its firmest. Each worker carries specialized pruning shears and moves with practiced efficiency, examining each eggplant for size, color, and firmness before cutting. Watch closely as this harvester evaluates an eggplant. She checks for the characteristic glossy sheen that indicates peak ripeness, gently presses the skin to assess firmness, and examines the calyx, the green cap at the top, which should be fresh and tightly attached. With a quick, clean cut, she severs the stem about an inch above the fruit. The eggplant is immediately placed into a padded collection bin, positioned gently to avoid bruising. A single bruise can trigger enzymatic browning that will spread throughout the flesh, rendering the fruit unsuitable for premium markets. Within minutes of harvest, these bins are transported to the nearby processing facility, a sprawling complex of stainless steel, conveyor systems, and precisely controlled environments. Temperature is critical at every stage. Eggplant are sensitive to both cold and heat. Too cold, and they suffer chilling injury that manifests as pitting and internal browning. Too warm, and they rapidly lose moisture and firmness. The facility maintains a constant temperature of 50 degrees Fahrenheit with 85% humidity, conditions that preserve quality while slowing respiration and water loss. The first station in the processing line is a receiving area, where each bin is logged, weighed, and assigned a tracking code. This traceability system allows the facility to track every eggplant from the specific field section where it was grown through every stage of processing. If any quality issues emerge later, they can identify the exact source within minutes. The bins are then gently emptied onto a cushioned receiving conveyor, designed to minimize impact and prevent damage. As the eggplant begin their journey along the conveyor system, they pass first through a dry cleaning station where soft rotating brushes and carefully directed air jets remove field debris, soil particles, and any loose organic matter. Unlike some vegetables, eggplants cannot withstand aggressive washing at this stage, as their delicate skin can be easily damaged. The brushes are made from natural bristles, soft enough to clean without scratching yet firm enough to be effective. Next comes the initial sorting station, where workers stand on both sides of a wide, slow-moving conveyor. Their trained eyes scan constantly, removing any fruit that shows obvious defects, splits, punctures, unusual discoloration, or irregular shapes. These cold eggplant aren't wasted. They're diverted to a secondary processing line, where they'll be used for products where appearance is less critical, such as purees, sauces, or prepared foods. The remaining eggplants continue to the washing station, where they're treated with a gentle spray of potable water. The water pressure is carefully calibrated, strong enough to remove remaining surface contaminants, but not so forceful as to damage the skin. Some facilities add food-grade sanitizers to this wash water, typically chlorine-based solutions at carefully controlled concentrations, to reduce surface microbial loads. After washing, the eggplants pass through an air-drying tunnel where high-velocity, filtered air removes surface moisture. Now we arrive at one of the most sophisticated components of the entire operation, the optical sorting system. This remarkable piece of technology represents a $250,000 investment, but its capabilities justify the cost. High-resolution cameras capture multiple images of each eggplant as it passes through the scanner, analyzing size, shape, color uniformity, and surface defects invisible to the human eye. The system can detect subtle variations in color that indicate internal problems, identify minor blemishes that might expand during storage, and measure dimensions with millimeter precision. Within milliseconds, the computer analyzes this data against program parameters and makes a sorting decision. Pneumatic gates activate, directing each eggplant to one of several lanes based on grade. Premium grade fruits, those meeting the strictest standard for size, shape, and appearance, are directed to one lane. Commercial grade, perfectly acceptable fruits with minor cosmetic variations, go to another. Each grade serves different market segments with different price points and quality expectations. The premium grade eggplants, our focus, now move to the cutting and processing area, where the real transformation begins. This is where whole eggplant become the pre-cut products increasingly demanded by restaurants, food service operations, and consumers seeking convenience. The cutting area operates under enhanced sanitary protocols. Workers wear hairnets, gloves, and clean aprons. Hand washing stations are positioned throughout the area, and surfaces are sanitized on regular schedules throughout the day. The eggplants first pass through a mechanical topping and tailing station, where rotating blades remove the calyx and a small portion of the stem end and bottom. These cuts are performed with remarkable precision, removing the minimum amount necessary. The trimmed pieces are immediately conveyed away for composting, part of the facility's zero-waste initiative that returns organic matter to agricultural fields. Now the eggplants enter the slicing stations, and here we see the marriage of human skill and mechanical precision. For some cuts, particularly specialty shapes or specific thickness requirements, skilled workers use professional-grade slicers with adjustable blades. Watch as this operator feeds an eggplant through a commercial slicer set to produce quarter-inch rounds. The blade, sharpened multiple times daily, glides through the firm flesh with minimal resistance, producing uniform slices that fall onto a collection tray. Speed matters, but accuracy matters more. Each slice must meet specifications for thickness and quality. For higher volume cutting operations, automated systems take over. These machines, custom designed for eggplant processing, can handle multiple fruits simultaneously. Eggplants are loaded into holding channels, where they're secured by gentle pressure from padded clamps. A series of ultrasonic blades, which vibrate at frequencies beyond human hearing, descend in coordinated sequences. These blades cut through the eggplant flesh with remarkable clean edges, reducing cellular damage and the oxidative browning that typically occurs when eggplant tissue is cut. The machines can be programmed for various cut styles: round for grilling, lengthwise slices for rolling preparations, cubes for stewing, or julienne strips for stir-fries. Each cut style requires different blade configurations and cutting sequences. The machine currently operating is producing uniform half-inch cubes, executing 6 cuts in rapid succession to transform a whole eggplant into precisely sized pieces in less than 3 seconds. Immediately after cutting, the pieces face their greatest challenge: oxidation. When eggplant flesh is exposed to air, enzymes called polyphenol oxidases react with phenolic compounds in the tissue, producing brown pigments. To combat this, the cut pieces are immediately treated. Some operations use a mild acidulated water bath, typically with citric acid or ascorbic acid, which lowers pH and inhibits enzyme activity. Others employ modified atmosphere packaging, flushing containers with nitrogen or carbon dioxide to displace oxygen. The packaging area showcases another level of sophistication. Cut eggplant pieces are weighed with digital precision, ensuring each package contains exactly the labeled amount, typically ranging from 8 ounces to 5 pounds depending on the target market. For retail packages, clear plastic clamshells are used, allowing consumers to see the product while protecting it from handling damage. For food service, larger bags or containers are employed. Modified atmosphere packaging equipment draws a vacuum, removing most of the air from the package, then injects a precise mixture of gases before sealing. A typical mix might be 3% oxygen, 10% carbon dioxide, and 87% nitrogen. This atmosphere significantly slows respiration, microbial growth, and enzymatic browning, extending shelf life from a few days to more than a week under refrigeration. Each package receives a printed label containing multiple pieces of information: product name and description, weight, lot number for traceability, harvest date, processing date, best by date, storage instructions, and nutritional information. Some packages also include recipe suggestions or preparation tips, adding value for consumers who may be unfamiliar with cooking eggplant. Before leaving the processing facility, packaged products pass through a metal detection system, an important food safety measure that identifies any foreign objects that might have entered during processing. Any package triggering the detector is automatically rejected and examined to identify and remove the contaminant. Finally, packages are placed into refrigerated storage, maintained at 36 to 40 degrees Fahrenheit, where they await shipment. The logistics of distribution are as carefully orchestrated as the production process itself. Refrigerated trucks maintain the cold chain, essential for preserving quality from processing facility to final destination. GPS tracking monitors each shipment, and temperature sensors inside the trucks record conditions throughout transit. If temperatures exceed acceptable ranges, alerts are automatically sent to logistics managers who can take corrective action. Throughout this entire process, quality control is constant and multi-layered. Laboratory technicians perform regular testing, checking for microbial counts, measuring pH levels, assessing texture through standardized compression tests, and conducting sensory evaluations. Sample packages are held under controlled conditions and examined daily to verify that shelf life projections are accurate. Any deviations from expected results trigger investigations to identify and correct the cause. The environmental consciousness of modern eggplant processing extends beyond composting trim waste. Water used in washing operations is treated and recycled. Energy-efficient LED lighting illuminates the facility. Solar panels on the roof generate a significant portion of the electrical power needed for operations. Packaging materials are chosen not just for functionality, but for recyclability and environmental impact. The entire operation, from those sun-drenched fields we saw at the beginning to the packaged products ready for shipment, represents the evolution of agriculture and food processing. What was once a purely manual operation, dependent on individual skill and limited by human capabilities, has been transformed through technology, scientific understanding, and systematic process optimization. Yet the human element remains essential. Technology handles precision, consistency, and scale, but experienced workers make critical decisions, troubleshoot problems, and maintain the quality standards that define the operation. As we conclude our journey through this remarkable facility, consider that the perfectly cut eggplant pieces in your local grocery store or the ones used in your favorite restaurant dish have traveled this path. Behind that simple product lies a complex orchestration of agriculture, engineering, food science, and human expertise. Every element, from soil preparation months before planting to temperature control during the final miles of delivery, plays a role in delivering quality, safety, and consistency. The advanced eggplant production line we've explored today represents not just technological achievement, but a commitment to meeting modern demands for convenience, quality, and sustainability. As global populations grow and dietary preferences evolve, facilities like this one will play an increasingly important role in feeding the world efficiently and responsibly. The humble eggplant, transformed through the sophisticated process, tells a larger story about how we grow, process, and deliver food in the 21st century, and hints at the innovations yet to come.